Hello, everybody. Welcome back to My Pledge of Love. This is Chapter 2. If you have not listened to Chapter 1 yet, it's located in my videos below. And if this is your first time, welcome. I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I have had trouble sleeping, so I stay up late at night in a room lit by the TV light. All I want is to get some shut-eye, but my thoughts are keeping me awake. I don't know what it is, but it's been like this ever since we kissed. I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry, did you say you were going to dinner with the captain? This came from Grayson as he dropped off the basket of fruits his mother had asked him to bring over. Hallie took it from him, and she smiled at him as his gaze looked anything but happy. Yes, she answered. He asked me out to dinner. Is there a problem with that? Grayson scratched his head and then shrugged. No, I just thought I didn't think you'd like a man like him. I don't, she said. That other night after I sent you to base, my bicycle tire popped on the way home and he helped me. It's just to return a favor. A smile finally hit the corner of his lips. Oh, so it's just a favor. Something like that, Hallie said as she plucked an apple from the basket and brought it to her nose to smell. Then she looked up at him. Grayson, don't be getting any ideas. I don't like him. He's cute, but he's not for me. He's kind of a brute. Well, he's a Marine. She shrugged. I suppose so. Well, are you all right? You didn't hurt yourself, did you? I did. She lifted her skirt up to show him the bandage on her knee. He dropped down to inspect it and then looked up at her. What? I never should have let you walk me back home. He stood up. I was so dumb to have allowed it. Look at you. Will there be a scar? I don't know. It's quite ugly right now since it's healing, but I sure hope it don't leave any scars. I will be forever reminded of it. You know, it serves me right for wanting to play hero. And then she smiled and touched his shoulder. Don't blame yourself, Grayson. I happily would do it again just to send you back to base. But come on. It's getting late. You should go back before they close up the gate. All right, but you stay clear from trouble, you hear? He asked as he started backing away to leave. Trouble always finds me, she joked as he gave her a wink before disappearing. When he was gone, Hallie sat out a long breath. She could tell the tension was in his eyes when she accidentally told him about going to dinner with Kyle. She had lied. It was a favor, but she couldn't stop thinking about him. The man had this powerful spark about him that made her tingle everywhere, and it was frightening to even think that she wanted to do something about those feelings. She thought about perhaps fighting against it, but they returned stronger than ever. She finally caved and let her mind wander to how it would feel to actually kiss him. Kyle was very manly, everywhere, and it drove her crazy to think about how he had carried her like that, like she'd weighed nothing, and even walked back with her in his arms. Hallie. She finally turned around and found her mother staring at her with questionable eyes. Hallie? What? She asked. I've been calling you for a few minutes now, darling. You just had this strange gaze in your eyes. Are you all right? Hallie pushed the thought of Kyle away and adjusted herself. I'm fine. You sure? You seem kind of dazed. Hallie smiled and straightened herself. What do you need me for, Mother? She put the thought of meeting with Kyle away as she followed her mother inside the house. The restaurant was a dainty one, and Kyle figured that this was as glamorous as it was going to get around here. There wasn't much choices when it came to eating out, and he tried to pick the most lavish one he could find without having to drive too far out of town. It was a small mom and pop owned about 10 miles from where his hotel was. He'd gone to pick up Hallie and nearly dropped to his knees when she came out wearing a soft lavender gown with her hair down, cascading down her back. Her entire outfit and how she looked made him forget that she had agreed as a favor and not necessarily as a date. He pulled out a chair for her to sit and took the seat across from her. Immediately, the waitress came out to serve them drinks and would return to get their orders. "What's good here?" he asked. "It's my first time dining here," she said, which didn't surprise him. She gazed at the menu and then smiled. "Oh, I think I'll have the chicken blazed breast. It sounds yummy." And then she looked up at him. "And you?" He lowered his eyes to the menu and found that he couldn't focus. She was sitting too close to him for comfort, and all he wanted to do was reach over and touch her. Clearing his throat, he was still deciding when the waitress came over. She had a huge grin on her face and was leaning too close to him. "Hello. It's the first time I've seen you around here," she said, her eyes solely on him. "What can I get for you?" Cal ignored her eyes and focused on the menu. "You can take my lady's order first." When he glanced up at her, her face told him she was shocked that he didn't respond to her. But eventually she turned toward Hallie with a weak smile. "What can I get for you?" Hallie gave her order, and then she turned back to him, the same seductive smile on her face. "And for you?" "The steak and potatoes, please, and make it medium well. Thank you." He handed the menu back to her, and she blinked, shocked that he didn't say anything else. She took it from him and excused herself as she left. When he turned to Hallie's gaze, she was near bursting from laughter. "You know, you really injured her ego. She was trying so hard to get you to like her," Hallie said with a grin. Kyle shrugged his shoulders. "Well, I don't like women who do that. I'm not interested." "What type does interest you?" She grabbed her drink of water and began drinking. "You," he said. She choked and immediately put her glass down as he reached for the napkin and handed it to her. She dabbed her lips and her cheeks blush. It made his knees go weak again. He leaned forward and reached out to hold her hand. "What does it take for you to stop blushing that way?" he asked. Hallie blinked. "Well, what do you mean?" Smiling, he replied, "Every time you blush like that, it makes me fall to my knees, Hallie. It's very hard to control my emotions when I see you that way, and it's making it very hard for me to not walk over there and kiss you until you can't breathe." She jerked her hand back, her cheeks now even brighter. "Have some manners. You don't talk to a lady like that." "Oh, if I had it my way, there wouldn't be any talking at all." To his surprise, she pushed her chair back and walked out. Perfect, he thought as he chased after her. He found her walking toward the road, and he simply grabbed her by the waist and carried her to the back of the building where lights were low. She fought him until he placed her down on the ground and leaned toward her, where their foreheads were nearly touching. "You have no idea what you're doing to me, Hallie May. Right now it's taking all control I have ever learned not to do anything to you," he whispered in a low voice. He reached out and traced a finger down her arm and heard her shiver. "I know you're from the South, and you have a certain set of rules you want your man to follow. I respect you, and I would do anything you ask of me. But you have to promise me something so that I will at least have content that you're being honest with me." She looked up at him. "I'm not promising you anything. I don't know you, and I don't like you." He narrowed his eyes. "You don't like me? Then it shouldn't bother you if I do this." He leaned down and grazed his lips against her jawline and heard her suck in a breath. He laughed and pulled away to watch her eyes widen. "You don't like that?" She looked away, and then when she returned her gaze, her lower lip began to quiver. "I'm new at this. I don't know what is going on with me, but you're making the devil come out of me. I'm supposed to be a good girl." Kyle smiled and closed the distance between them until their hips were touching. "You are a good girl. I only like good girls. But even good girls have a bad side. I trust that you can show me what your bad side is like." "I don't know how to do that," she whispered. "Can I trust it with you?" He lowered his lips to hers. "Yes, you can." And then he reached for her neck. "May I?" She let out a soft moan and then nodded. He smiled and captured her lips, drawing her breath into his. She shook violently beneath him, and he picked her up, guiding her legs to wrap around his waist. He held her like that, behind the restaurant building, kissing her lips, and when her hands came up to hold his neck, he lost control. He accidentally bit her, and she yelped, pulling back, her face twisted. You... Why did you do that? She asked. He smiled and touched her cheek. I'm sorry. I lost control. Can you blame me? When she tried to release her legs from him, he cuffed his hands underneath her knees, and she was trapped. Don't play a stranger with me, Hallie. What I hate the most is when I share such an intimate moment like this with someone, and they pretend they don't know me, he whispered. She looked away and then gazed at him. I don't like that either. Now, tell me something. He smiled and leaned over to kiss her cheek softly. What is Grayson to you? She jerked back. Grayson? He's like a brother. He raised his eyebrows. He is. I want to make sure I'm not stealing another man's woman. He is like a brother to you? It seems his emotions for you is one-sided. You know that? She asked, shocked. He chuckled. Sweetheart, one look, and anyone can tell he likes you. He let her a long sigh. But I suppose I am the lucky one since you do like me back. She blushed, and he groaned. You keep blushing like that, and I'll end up doing something I shouldn't do. He let her down from his waist and touched her cheek gently. Come on, let's go finish our dinner. Her lips were still burning, and it had been hours since Kyle sent her home. Hallie had never been this stuck in emotions before, and it left her wondering what she'd been missing in this life. Granted, no one as incredibly handsome as Kyle had ever been in her life, but she had been missing an entire world on kissing and feeling unglued. It left her wondering how it would be when something more physical exchanged between them. The thought made her burn in places that she shouldn't be. Oh, goodness, she thought as she rubbed her face with her hand. This was bad. Hallie found 4 dozen white roses delivered to her doorstep the following morning. She stood there, dazed and speechless as the delivery man gave her a salute. She fingered the soft petals, and then her mother came up behind her and let out a shocking gasp. Oh, good Lord to the heavens above, she said. Who in God's name sent these beautiful flowers? She bent down and touched a few of the roses and then looked up at her. Hallie, I think I might know who it may be, but I'm not entirely certain. She smiled as her mother continued adoring them. I'm going to go visit someone and thank this person kindly. You do that. I'll bring these in. Hallie walked to her bicycle and got on, riding in the direction of the base camp. Her heart was fluttering as she thought of the kiss from last night. He was a surprise. A smile formed on her lips as her heart warmed, thinking about how he'd carried her. Was this how relationships began? Forming such sinful thoughts in your mind until you actually made it happen in life? The base came into view, and she saw the many soldiers already running and working on their physical form. She couldn't tell who was Grayson as she was too far away. She was stopped by a gentleman dressed in uniform. I'm here to see Captain Kyle Vanner. And you are? Hallie May. The young man looked her up and down, but he returned and motioned to another one. He whispered something in his ear, and Hallie watched as she ran to the field, and she saw him approach the tallest man standing with his back turned to her. He whispered something in the man's ear, and he turned around. She realized he was Kyle. He blew a whistle, and the men on the field stopped running and all went to rest. Kyle started walking toward her as she got off her bike. When he reached her, his eyes were shining and his lips were in a smile. Good morning, Miss Hallie May. To what do I owe this visit? He asked, his voice drenched in a wicked tone. She felt herself unwind. Thank you for the roses. They made my doorstep a fancy sight this morning. He smiled and leaned in toward her. You came all the way here to tell me thank you? She nodded and smiled. I thought it would be more appropriate. You know, he said as he leaned in closer to her, there are a lot of other ways that a woman can say thank you. I know that, she said, but I'm minding my manners. Too bad. I'm not. He pulled her toward him and kissed her quickly, and then he let her go and saluted her as he returned to the field. She felt her heart thump against her chest as she walked back to the bike to go home. The evening sky was burning an orange shade when Hallie got ready to turn in for the night. She put aside the dirty garden gloves and picked up the rake to put away when she noticed someone at the gate. She leaned the rake on the side of the house and walked over. A smile on her face appeared when she realized it was Grayson. She went to open it, and his eyes told her that something was bothering him. "Grayson, are you all right?" she asked. "Hallie," he started, and then he looked away. "I just came by to wish you good night." She nearly laughed. "Wish me good night? Grayson, whatever do you mean by that? It's late. Does your captain know you're here away from base?" Suddenly he reached out and took a hold of her arm and pulled her toward him. "I saw you with him this morning. Why did you come to seek him out?" "Grayson, ouch, let me go." He didn't release his hold. Instead, he tightened it, and then his eyes shimmered with tears. "Grayson, let me go." "Why? Why him?" he asked through a tender voice. "For so many years, I have tried to make you see that I have been in love with you. One day, a handsome unknown man comes into town, and you're already all over him. Why, Hallie?" She pried his hand free from her arm and let out a breath of pain as she massaged her flesh. "Grayson, you have always known that I treasure you like a brother. I have never given you any reason to doubt my feelings. I love you like how Sarah loves you." "You know I don't love you that way." "I can't control that," she cried. "Besides, have I ever misled you to believe I wanted more? Have I? Have I ever voiced that I wanted more?" She shook her head. "I have not, and you know it. Kyle he's different. He's not like anyone I have ever met before." Grayson took a step back. "He's not here to stay, Hallie. In 8 weeks, he'll be leaving back to where he belongs. How will you be by then, huh? Did you ever stop to think about that?" "Grayson, you are acting as if I'm getting married with him. It's hardly the case. We are simply just two people who are testing the waters. I don't think you need to be this riled up about this situation. It is not your business." She knew the words hurt him, and he didn't hide the fact that it did. He nodded and then took off as she let out a deep breath and felt the pain of possibly losing a good friend. Kyle found him in the locker room fresh from a shower. He knew the reason why the man had disappeared after dinner when rules were against it. He knew it, but now Grayson was forcing him to play the bad man card. It wasn't that Grayson wasn't good looking. He was a fine-looking young man. But in the eyes of Hallie May, Kyle was just better. When he entered the locker room, the other recruits were leaving, and it left just the two of them. Good, Kyle thought as he closed the door and walked to find Grayson pulling on a shirt. "Where were you last night when the lights were out?" Kyle asked. Grayson turned to him, stared, and then ignored the question. He grabbed the duffel bag from the ground and attempted to walk away when Kyle put his hand out to stop him. Grayson turned and gave him an ugly glare that made him laugh. "Do you dare to offend your captain?" Kyle asked. Grayson dropped the duffel bag on the ground and rolled his eyes. "No. But right now I'm not looking at you as the captain. I'm looking at you as someone who dares to steal the woman I love." Kyle nodded and dropped his hand, placing them inside his pockets. "So this is what this attitude is all about? That I stole your girl? How did I steal her if she was yours?" Grayson didn't answer. "Let me tell you. Because she was never yours to begin with. A woman who is as beautiful and free as Hallie May can be with any man she wants. She chose to come out with me, and she chose to come thank me for something I gave her. If she was yours to begin with, shouldn't she have said something when I approached her?" "You think you're better than me?" Grayson asked, his hand nearly clutching into fists. Kyle smiled and shook his head. "No. But to her, I am the better man." The punch came unexpected, and it did break his tissue, making him taste blood. But he simply smiled and patted Grayson on the shoulder. "I won't hold it against you, Grayson. But the next time I won't be so kind." He wiped the blood from his lips and turned to walk out as he heard Grayson slam the locker doors. "What happened to you?" Hallie asked as she entered the gate of her home. His lips had turned a soft blue from the punch Grayson gave him. He had seen worse, but she looked frightened as she gazed at him. "I'm all right. Just a little accident." She reached out and touched him gently. "It looks painful." Oh, it's painful, believe me. But I'll live. I've been through worse. And then he smiled. Are your parents home? I'd like to take you out, but I want to ask their permission. She paused and blinked. You do that. Of course, he said as he smiled. I know how things work around here in the South. Well, you're off the hook this time because they're not home. So wherever you want to take me, you can. He smiled and extended his hand to her. She took it, and he walked her to the truck where he helped her get in. He drove them to the outskirts of town and prepared the bed of the truck with a blanket. Out here, the sky was darkening, and the stars were starting to come out. He poured them each a cup of warm coffee and helped her onto the bed of the truck. Oh, wow! This is beautiful! I'd always wondered what this patch of land was, she said as she held the cup between her hands. Well, I hope it's public land. It is! The city hasn't sold it to anyone just yet. Then she turned to smile at him and snuggled in closer. Thank you for bringing me out here. Then she whispered, Grayson came to see me last night. He mentioned about how you're only here for 8 weeks. Do you plan on leaving after you're done? This did not surprise Kyle, and he knew this conversation was coming. It was something he couldn't avoid. Yes, that's true. I'm only here for 8 weeks. I try not to get involved with anything or anyone. And then he touched her cheek and smiled. But someone, you, got me breaking my own rules this time. Hallie gave him a soft smile and touched his lip. Grayson did this, didn't he? He didn't answer, and she chuckled. I should have known that. She leaned back and let out a long breath of sigh. Grayson has been in love with me since the beginning of time. I've never told him anything different to make him think that I feel the same. I've always been honest about how I feel. He's like my big brother, although he doesn't see it that way, and I don't know how to make it any clearer that I don't love him that way. Now that you're here, and I'm positive he saw me come greet you at base the other day, he's going to turn ugly. I had hoped you'd be over this infatuation. She turned to him. How do you get someone to move on from a feeling that isn't returned? He reached out and touched her lips. I don't know. I've never had to ask anyone to stop loving me. If anything, I've only yearned for love. She touched his hand. What about your parents? Didn't you have your parents' love growing up? I didn't. I don't have a rich family upbringing like you did, Hallie. I grew up in foster homes, and I had to fight for my right to eat and breathe. I have never had anyone give me love freely. He felt his heart quicken. He'd never shared this with anyone before. He wasn't sure why he was doing it now, but something about the way how she looked made it feel safe to tell her. He thought he would receive her pity, but instead she reached out and put her arms around him, holding him tightly. I'm sorry no one was there for you. I hope you know that you're an amazing man. You turned out very well. A smile curved his lips. You hardly know me. I'm not a good man. She looked up at him. What do you mean? He tightened his hands. I've had to kill before, and I've had to use force to get things done. I'm not a good man. I'm a machine to kill, Hallie. I'm not gentle, nor do I understand what it's like to be free. I'm a Marine, and I go by order. Sometimes I forget what it's like to be human and to make choices based on what I feel. Forgive me if I become too much. She shook her head. No, Kyle, you are nothing like that. You're a gentleman. He smiled and touched her cheek. My thoughts about you are far from being a gentleman. Thank you for tuning in. Chapter 3 will be out shortly.
Lately I have had trouble sleeping, so I stay up late at night in a room lit by the TV light. All I want is to get some shut-eye, but my thoughts are keeping me awake. I don't know what it is, but it's been like this ever since we kissed. I don't know what to do, 'cause I long for you every single night. It's been like this ever since we kissed. keep my mind occupied so that I can focus on anything but you. 'Cause all I want is to get some shut-eye, but the thought of you